Hi, my name's Jack Soul, and thanks so much for stopping by this video. This video is all about the Chase Bliss Audio Generation Loss. And as you saw on the intro, we're going to be talking about its tape emulation. So when I was growing up, I watched VHS tapes. That was my main way to watch movies growing up, and that sound that the Generation Loss offers really taps into that feeling of nostalgia. Like, I watched Bug's Life probably 100 times growing up, and it's my favorite kids movie still to this day. And as you watch it, the video that you're most fond of experiences tape degradation. And, you know, saying that out loud feels a little scary, like, oh, it's degrading, but really it just creates this really warm, warbly, there's some dips and cuts of the audio and the visual, and that's what we're going to be just tapping into today, just a bit of nostalgia. And basically the premise of this video is that the Chase Bliss Audio GENLOSS has 3 modes of VHS tape degradation. So I'll be taking a VHS tape. This is an old VHS tape, a used VHS tape. It's not my favorite movie, Bug's Life. It's a movie that I don't want anymore. I'm not going to tell you what it is just in case it's your favorite and you get mad at me for recording over it, but joking aside. But I wanted to use a VHS that was old and that was maybe watched a lot, and I actually bought this off of Marketplace from somebody who is storing these in like an old barn shed. Thankfully it was dry and it still works, but I think it represents the fact that it is degraded, which is awesome. And so, like I was saying, the Chase Bliss Audio has 3 tape emulations, and how it works is the first one is audio recorded onto VHS, and then you listen to that. The second one is audio recorded onto VHS. For me, it's going to go back onto my computer, and then that recording that's already been through the VHS is going to go back onto the VHS. So, and then after that, it'll go back onto my computer. You guys will hear it. And then the third one is recorded onto VHS, back onto my computer. That going back onto VHS, and then I'll put it back on my computer. And that one that's been recorded over a second, the 2 times, will go back onto VHS, which is, I think, going to get pretty crazy, and then it'll go back on my computer so we can listen to the results. So when the audio from real VHS is playing on this video, it will be easy to tell. I'll make it obvious, but you'll also be able to see that your visual looks like a VHS, and that looks like this. Okay, so we're back to audio through my camera and interface, but you'll be able to tell because the visual will look like a VHS. So basically, we're going to start with the first filter, and I'm going to play a bit, and then I'm going to click the generation loss off, and that will be when the tape starts. And then I'll put the generation loss back on. I'll play a bit and kind of go back and forth, and we'll do that for all 3 filters. If you're interested to see a little clip of, filter 1, 2, and 3, but the video's been too long, just check out all the timestamps and hop around at your own leisure. The last thing I'm going to say before we get into creating a tone with the GENLOSS to start with is that if you want to know how to put your audio and visual recorded onto a VHS and how to get it back off the VHS onto your laptop, feel free to let me know in the comments. If I get enough comments about this topic and there's enough interest, I'll make a full in-depth video on how you can do this yourself. And there's some really practical, really neat practical things that you could do with it, like recording a guitar part, putting it through real VHS for that warmth, compression, the warbles, the dips, the cuts, and then putting it back onto your computer as a digital file and putting it on your song, or putting whole mixes through a VHS, which I've done, and it turns out really cool. Losing my mind, heart's beating. And so if I get enough comments asking for that video on how to specifically do this yourself, because that all didn't fit in this video, I will make one for you, but make sure you comment that so I know that there's enough interest. Okay, let's get to the video. To start with, basically we're going to create a setting on the Generationloss, and I've kind of already honed one in. And the settings on the Generationloss won't change throughout the video, only the filter will, which is called model. So here's the tone that we're going to work with on the Genloss. And this especially, I have it honed in for something that's fairly obvious, but in my opinion still fairly tasteful. Like, it doesn't get too crazy if you took the flutters way up. And I'm gonna start out with just Generationloss and my drive tone from the Kernum, and then we're gonna hear what just my dry tone with my overdrive sounds like on the tape. So here's with Generationloss. And as I turn the Genloss, we will turn to VHS mode and hear what it sounds like on real VHS tape. Alright, now here's Generationloss with the first filter and reverb. And turning the Generationloss and hearing what this tone with the reverb sounds like on real tape. So I really like the first setting on the Genloss, and what it offers tape wise I think really makes sense on a lot of levels for practicality. It's just got the right amount that it makes sense for, and to be fair as well, this is likely what you heard as a kid. You weren't hearing the re-recorded. That's kind of made by Chase Bliss to emphasize the stuff that happens, but this is kind of what I remember. And but let's move on to the second filter mode to see what the next level sounds like. Alright, so here's the second filter mode, and we'll start with our dry guitar tone with just the kernum. And here's the real tape. And here's the second filter with reverb and dotted eighth delay from the Chase Bliss Therme. So it's got a dark sound to it. And here is the real tape. I'm so interested to see how this sounds through real VHS, and you guys are hearing it in real time, but again, I'm not hearing it in real time, so I'm excited to see the results. Now, using this second filter, the last sound I'm going to do is the hologram microcosm with the mood. Okay, so here's through the second filter. Alright, here's the same sound through real tape. Okay, so let's go to the third and final filter that we're going to be looking at today. Alright, so here's the third and final filter with just overdrive through the Generationloss. real tape recreation of filter number 3. Here's the GENLOSS, reverb, and dotted eighth delay. Wow, it's so dark and warm and and here's the real tape recreation of filter 3 with Mercury X reverb and Theremin dotted eighth delay. And let's do one microcosm sound with the third filter here. And here's the GENLOSS with the third filter. And here it is in reverse. Such a cool sound. And here it is in real tape recreation of filter 3. dreamy. Alright, so like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm not seeing results in real time. I have to do all the editing, put it on VHS, take it off, put it on, take it off, put it on, and that's going to take a while. So write your comments on how you think this experiment went right now, and I'm going to do all the editing in the meantime, and I'll throw my final thoughts at the end of this video at a later day after I'm done all the editing. Alright, so here are some final thoughts on the video. First of all, that took a long time. VHS records in real time, so however long the video is, that's how long it takes to record onto VHS. And to get it back onto my laptop took the exact same amount of time because it records in real time on the way out as well. So wow, that took a lot of work, but I am thrilled with the results. So let's talk about it a little. The hum, the warmth, the crackles, the dips, it's called failure on the GENLOSS, were spectacular. Like the warmth and the fuzziness that you get from that tape compression was just out of this world. I am definitely going to be putting more audio through VHS in the future. And like you even heard at the very beginning with the full mix, it sounds so good. I really like it. But on the other hand, the pitch modulation that we can easily get out of the GENLOSS wasn't recreated in the same way. I did hear some pitch modulation, mostly from the third filter recreation, the real tape recreation of the third filter. And so I heard a little bit of it, and it's just the right stuff. It sounds right coming from VHS. Again, the GENLOSS does an amazing recreation. But I heard just a little bit of it come in the third recreation. And this is where I call on Chase Bliss. I would be so thrilled. It would be a dream come true if I could have someone from Chase Bliss comment on this video on maybe how I could better recreate the pitch modulation found in the GENLOSS with real tape. If anybody from Chase Bliss could watch this video and just give me some direction and maybe just comment overall on how the video went and how closely it is to how they recreated and the inspiration that they used for the GENLOSS, that would be just a dream come true. So if anybody knows anybody from Chase Bliss, or you could just tag them or just send this video to them, that would be amazing. I would really love to see that happen. So, but here are my thoughts on why we didn't see as much of the pitch modulation. So I think the pitch modulation came a lot from the audio they were putting into the VHS back in the day. So the audio I put into the VHS was pristine. Like, I'm not saying I have $1 million setup, but you don't have to spend a ton of money to have top-notch, top-quality audio nowadays. So between my mic and heading right into my interface, my audio on my mic and my audio through my guitar rig is really pristine. And I think that's why we didn't see as much pitch modulation on the VHS audio, is because what we were putting into it was so clean. So back in the day, their mics weren't as good. They had amazing mics. They were doing amazing things with it. But just generally speaking, the mics that you're seeing out and about were lower quality. They had a lot less EQ bandwidth, so it was like they were getting smaller sections and the quality of audio wasn't as good, not to mention, cabling, all of that stuff. And that would be exaggerated. All of the imperfections in the actual audio that was recorded would be exaggerated by it being re-recorded onto the VHS, essentially. Just like this machine is my Panasonic cassette player. And actually in the corner right here, it has a mic. And these mics were actually renowned for being a great mic. But when I use it, recording right onto cassette, because the mic is older, maybe it's experienced some maybe even damage or just got dust in it. As soon as I record with this mic, it automatically sounds more warbly than the VHS did, even after the third recreation, the third model. So that would be my conclusion, is if I recreate this experiment, I'm going to use a different method of recording so I can hopefully set the VHS player up to really mangle that pitch modulation and turn it into some vibrato maybe. Anyway, I just wanted to say I am beyond proud of this video. If you made it this far, I thank you so much. And I would really appreciate a like and a subscribe on this video. And most importantly though, if you could send or share this video to someone who you think would really enjoy it, that would be a top-notch, top thank you going out to you, because really I make these videos because I want people to see them and enjoy them. So send it around, do whatever you can. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next one.